Greetings and welcome to Chapter 11. In this exercise, we're to analyze these two melodies based on the features of the melodic line that we find here. So anywhere we see something that doesn't fit, we're to label it with numbers that correspond to the type of error or thing that should be avoided. We may need to bracket some sections. So right off the bat, the contour looks good. It's not pulling too much in one direction. I see a series of leaps here starting from the very beginning. So we have D to F, minor third, and then leaping up from F to C to a perfect fifth. So the leap is being left in the opposite direction, which is good. So let's see if there are any other problems. Treatment of leaps. If an isolated leap occurs in the line, fourth, fifth, sixth, or octave, proceed and follow it with motion in the opposite direction. Exception, fourths can be preceded by motion in the same direction. Okay. Consecutive leaps in the same direction. Use no more than 2 consecutive leaps in the same direction. When using 2 consecutive leaps, you should proceed and follow the entire pair of leaps by motion in the opposite direction. So proceed and follow the entire pair of leaps. So we have a pair of leaps here, and it's being followed by motion in the opposite direction, but it's not being preceded that way. So let's just bracket these leaps here. And that would be you want to proceed and follow, so that would be number 11. And consecutive leaps in the same direction. 2 consecutive leaps in the same direction should together span a fifth, a sixth, or an octave. Okay, so these 2 leaps, they span a seventh, okay? And that is not a fifth or a sixth or an octave. So put 12 there. Proceed and follow the pair by motion in the opposite direction. Okay. That covers that too, because it's not being preceded that way. Alright, so let's move on a little bit here. Okay. Looks like a lot of the same notes, right, are being used in this section. Alright, so that would be number 2, variety. Variety is preferred over redundancy. Avoid reusing the same pitches again and again. Okay, so we'll put a 2 there. And I see anything else? I think that looks good. Alright, so we're in B flat major now, and just scanning it. It seems that the melody is pulling more to one direction, right? The whole thing up to the 4th measure, or the half of the 4th measure, is going up. And so let's that directionality. Don't let the melody pull too much in one direction. Okay, so number 4. Now we have a leap here. It's a 4th, and it's not being preceded or followed in the direction opposite to the leap. See the leap, and then it's going in the same direction up stepwise. So that is breaking rule number 10. Okay. Now, here we have another leap. The A to the F. So that is a minor 6th. Okay. And it's an isolated large leap. So let's look at that. If an isolated large leap occurs in the line, 4th, 5th, 6th, or octave, proceed and follow with motion in the opposite direction. And it's not being preceded or followed with motion in the opposite direction. So again, we'll put 10 there. Okay. Now we have another set of leaps. Okay, so it's being preceded in the opposite direction to this first leap, which is good, but it's not being left in the opposite direction. And number 12 says 2 consecutive leaps in the same direction should together span a 5th, a 6th, or an octave. Okay, so we have G down to B flat, and that's a 6th. Okay, so that's good, that's okay. But proceed and follow the pair by motion in the opposite direction. So since this is the last note in this little phrase, it's not being left in the opposite direction of the leap. So technically, this is breaking rule number 12. Okay. And also breaking rule number 11. And since the whole thing, let's see, let's check out the whole thing. All right, so we want the contour of the melody to be more conjunct than disjunct. So conjunct just means stepwise. So we want the melody to have more stepwise motion than leaps. So let's count how many leaps we have. There's 1 leap, 2, 3, and 4. There's 4 leaps. Now let's see how many times we use stepwise motion. There's 1, 2, 3 times. So it is definitely more disjunct. So let's put a number 1 off to the left, because it says if the error occurs over a range of notes, show this with an initial bracket or circle, or if the errors are general, and apply to the entire example, place the number to the left of the score. Okay, so that's what we did there. And I'm just wondering which note is the focal point of this melody. Is it the B flat down here, the lowest note, or is it the highest note, the G? I'm not really sure. So that could be number 5, problem with the focal point. But I'm not really sure, so I'm not going to put that down, but just be aware that that could possibly be a problem too. Okay, so that's all I got for this section. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Hi, so here we are in part C, and we are to compose a good bass line using the 2-phrase root position progression below. Then compose a good 1-to-1 counterpoint above the bass line. Use a half cadence at the end of the first phrase and a pack at the end of the last phrase. The final chord of each phrase should be a whole note. Note that you do not have to preserve good voice leading over the break between 2 phrases. So I inverted some of the harmonies as necessary, and I created this bass line. And one good reason that I did so here is the 7 diminished chord, the G sharp diminished over B, is because composers usually did that. They would use the first inversion when it came to diminished chords. So I did that here on the 7 diminished and also on the 2 diminished because we're in minor. Okay, and it created a really smooth bass line going up stepwise. I decided to use the 1/6 here, the A minor over C, and then the G sharp, the E over G sharp I used because of the way it led into the F over A. The 6 chord I used in first inversion for that reason there, and then I used the 4 chord, the D minor over F in first inversion too, because of the way that moves smoothly down to the E. Okay, so with the melody, it took some doing, but I was able to create a nice melody here, following the conventions the best that I could, I believe. So we're using all chord tones, mostly stepwise motion here. Then we have a leap from D to A, and that is a perfect fourth. All right, so with that leap, notice that it's approached and left in the opposite direction to the leap on both sides. See that? It's below, then it moves up, leaps down, then moves back up by step. And then I move back up stepwise to the C, which is the 5th of the F chord. And then I did a leap of a third down to A, and then I went by step in the same direction to the G sharp. But with thirds, it's okay to leave it in the same direction. That only applies to intervals of a fourth or larger, as far as the approach and the leaving in the opposite direction. Okay, so down here, I started the bass line up higher on the A to create more of a dramatic ending. We end on the low A, and this just is doing little leaps in thirds, and I use the 1/6 because the C moves nicely from the D to the D, back to the D. And we have the B diminished over D. Alright, so that moved nicely there, right up to the E, and then hop down to the A. Okay. Now with the melody, we're moving stepwise here, and then we have a leap of a third, and then another leap of a third. Now, these are consecutive thirds, and they are to outline a triad, and it does. F, A, C outlines the F major triad. Okay, so that's all good there. And now the contour starts to go down a little bit. We move stepwise here, and then we leap from B to G sharp, which is a minor third, and then the leading tone goes up to the A to create what would be a perfect authentic cadence, 5-1, both chords in root position, and the soprano ends on do. Okay, so that's what I did, and it sounded good. So hopefully this helps you, and we'll see you next time. Hi, I was just listening to it again, and I thought that maybe you'd like to hear it. So let's take it from the top and hear both together. Okay, so that's what it sounds like, and let's listen to each individual line. So first, let's listen to the bass line. Okay, so I really like the I like that part. Then it comes down. So you have the question and then the answer. So here's what the melody sounds like. Okay, so I really like the contour of the melody. You can hear the question. Hear how it's not quite finished, and then here's the answer with the resolution on the A. And I really just like this phrase. I really like the, and then, so, yeah, I hope that you guys liked hearing it, and I hope you do the same with your homework composition projects. It's one thing if it looks good on paper. That means that you're off to a good start. But the main thing is how it sounds. Remember, each line is its own individual melody. So just like the bass has its own melody, so does the soprano, the alto, and the tenor. That's what contrapuntal harmony is about. Okay, so have a good one, and I'll see you in the next section. Bye now.